You're tuned in to the Foxboro BeatCast, a podcast for Patriots fans by Patriots fans. And here's your host, Kaleb McChesney.
Hello and welcome to the Foxboro BeatCast, everybody. I'm your host, Kaleb McChesney. Alongside me, I have two people today. As usual, Trent Osborne, looking as fresh as ever with the fresh cut and the nice button up, looking real sharp, looking real fresh. And then, for the second time in this show's prosperous, we've had a lot of great guests. We have Trent. I don't even know if I can call you a guest at this point. You're a full timer. You're a full timer at this point. But Ken, one of the best guests we had last year. We had him on the bye week, I believe, to talk about some of the things that were coming up in the draft, and that was back in like October, November. He's here, and we have a little bit more stuff about the draft to really talk about. Ken, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Good to be here. Always nice to see you guys and talk some more football. So it's always a great day.
It's always a great day for football guys. Start talking about some football. But before we get there, I had this opening thought, and because it is my birthday, as this goes live tomorrow at March 6th, I figured I'd talk a little bit about something a little personal to me, something I went through just this past 24 hours or so. As most people know who are close to me, they know I like to watch movies. I know I watch a lot of movies. I watch a lot of TV. I don't watch with like an intense eye or anything. I don't consider myself a critic by any means. But I watched John Wick, the first two movies, for the first time. Just this last night. I watched number 1 last night. I watched number 2 this morning. Never been a big Keanu Reeves fan. I didn't love The Matrix. I don't love Bill and Ted's Amazing Adventure. I don't love what was that movie he did when he was on the bus and it couldn't go under 50 miles per hour or whatever it was.
Speed?
Yeah, didn't love that one. Just not the biggest Keanu Reeves fan. I don't know what it is. It's just not my thing. So, but everybody swears up and down about John Wick. So I figured, what the hell? I can't criticize it until I watch it. I can't be a hater until I try it. I tried it. I watched the first one. Didn't love it. Don't see the cult like fandom that it has. I thought maybe I just went into it wanting more than what was really there. I mean, it's a movie about Keanu Reeves. His car gets stolen, his dog gets killed, and he just goes on a mass murdering spree on Russian gangsters. They don't really talk about his past, why he has affiliation with these Russian people. Just the thought of, oh, well, he used to work here and he killed everybody with a pencil or something. It just felt kind of dumb. I'm sorry. The movie was just kind of dumb. Not a big Keanu Reeves
As
fan.
an American, what more do you need to go on a killing spree of Russians, right?
Fair enough, Ken. You bring up the good points. But yeah, not a big John Wick fan. Not if that's your thing, go for it. Keanu Reeves, nicest guy in Hollywood. Nobody has a bad thing to say about him personally, but don't love his movies. Don't love him as an actor. He's just okay. There was nothing remarkable about that movie, and nothing remarkable about the second one. But I am a man of my word. I will continue to watch the third and fourth, just so I can have a clear image in my mind of what these movies are about and how I feel about them, instead of just saying, yeah, I don't like Keanu Reeves, without giving probably his most famous movie a shot. Like John Wick is probably that's his series. Like Liam Neeson's was his series.
Well, I don't know. I guess it just depends how old you are, because if you're over like 35, you'd probably still say, I don't know if you would still say The Matrix, but
I was about to say, I was gonna say Matrix. It's between Matrix and John Wick, so it's one of the two.
Okay, yeah, okay. So you guys get my point anyway. Yeah, that's my thought that's my opening thought. Happy birthday to me, turning 22. That in mind, I know you guys are here to talk some football. I didn't drag Ken on here to give his John Wick opinions. Trent's not here to talk about Keanu Reeves. Let's just dive right into it. We just had the NFL Combine. I believe we did last week. There's some risers, there's some fallers, some draft stock changing. We're going to go over that. We're going to talk about the QB class of the 2024. We're going to have a little bit of a deeper discussion on Trent's boy, J.J. McCarthy. I know there's some polarizing opinions on J.J. McCarthy and the draft community as a whole, and I'd like to dive into that a little bit more. And we're gonna look at QB classes of years past. Trent had a fun suggestion before the season ended, and I thought, oh, this is a great idea. Let's dive right into it. So we're gonna look over the first round quarterbacks last decade, see how they panned out, and try to see if the Patriots can't avoid some mistakes or replicate some success. How to do that. There's nobody that I would rather talk about this with than Trent and Ken. So let's just dive right into it here. Let's just go right in knee deep. Combine rises and fallers. The NFL Combine wrapped up this past weekend. Quarterbacks, wide receivers, tackles, guards, everybody was there. Well, all the positions were there. Not everybody was there, obviously.
Everybody
But
went.
yeah, you had some big time kind of opt outs. I don't know if those count as fallers. If you wanted to do that, people who didn't participate in the combine having their draft stock fall.
For those who like to call people soft already, Caleb Williams not doing anything's not going to help.
No,
Nope.
not at all.
Nope.
But let's talk about it. Let's see who had a good day, who had a bad day, and what the NFL big boards look like as we leave Indianapolis, Trent's backyard. Let's just go right into it. Ken, I know you prepared a list.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna.
Let's run through it just quickly.
It's like 20 something people, so I'm not gonna probably say the whole thing.
Give
But
me like
big
the
ones,
most notable risers and fallers and why they kind of did that. We'll go one by one on your biggest riser, your biggest fallers, and Trent and I will offer some perspective.
I'm saying first was Jalen Wright for the running back because I didn't really have any quarterbacks, so I'm gonna start with running backs.
Okay.
And for Jalen Wright from Tennessee, he ran the fastest 40 among all the running backs. And when you're a fast running back, that makes you automatically the fastest running back in the class. That makes you automatic riser.
Trent, what do you think?
Yeah,
Tennessee running back.
100%. Jalen Wright. When I was at the combine, he was. I mean, you heard like gas when he was running. He's an athletic freak. I'm pretty sure he was top 3 for sure in every measuring stat there was. He wasn't a big name people were looking out for, but now after the combine, I've seen people say they wouldn't be too shocked to see him be the first running back taken off the board now.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Running backs, I guess.
Your favorite position, we know it.
Yeah. Listen, running backs and NFL draft really they don't sit well with me, and it can all be pinpointed back to one fateful night in 2018.
Not my guy Sony.
Dude, Sony Michel, maybe the worst, maybe one of the worst first round picks I've ever seen.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Not only because
he stayed on the roster, We've had some first rounds who didn't stay on the roster.
Listen, man, with Sony Michel, not only was it a bad pick because he was awful, it was a bad pick because it was a position that we didn't need. And do you guys know we passed up on an MVP when we took him? A 2-time MVP we passed up on? When we could have used that
to be
position.
fair.
We could have used him. Ken, do you have any idea who I might be talking about?
Yeah, he wouldn't have been the same in Boston as he would have been in Baltimore.
I don't know. Listen, you had Tom Brady's tutelage,
and you can't really fault the Patriots for passing on him when every team in the NFL.
Yes, I can. I can fault them for that.
Fair enough.
Just like I can fault them for passing on DK Metcalf and Terry McLaurin in 2019.
Don't get me started.
Don't forget AJ Brown.
Well, yeah. God. Okay, let's go on to happier things. Let's keep going.
Yeah. All right. And then, so speaking of first running back taken, my RB1, Trey Benson, I think he was a big riser. He not only he performed well in the 40, I think he had like a 4.33.
Yep.
He also did really good in all the drills, and he had a high speed in all the GPS tracking. So that has him as a stock up.
Trey Benson, what do you think? What do you think, Trent?
Yeah, I don't. People knew that he had skill. I don't think people were expecting him to be as fast as he was. Now that I think about it, I believe he ran a 4.38. It was the running back from Louisville that.
Oh yeah, that's the next guy.
That ran a 4.33. He actually went to high school 15 minutes down the road from where I grew up. My high school's rival high school went to Avon High School. At least that's what my buddy told me. I haven't fact checked that, but Trey Benson definitely rose up a lot with that speed. He's looking more and more like a total package that you would look at in a day two type back.
And then the last running back I had was the Isaac. I can't pronounce it well. Isaac Guerrero from Louisville.
It's a tough one. See if I can
Isaac, let's just go with IG. Let's call him that.
Yeah, he used to be he was actually the backup running back at Wisconsin. So nobody really was paying attention to him because of that. But now that he went to Louisville, he produced well, and then at the combine, he did what he did. He was top like 5 in every single and everything, 40 vertical, all of that. I'm not sure if he shuttle, but all the drills he performed well, and so he's huge stock up for that. Just for being an amazing athlete at running back, you don't need much more.
I don't love that you guys have snubbed my classmate with these RB combine figures. My classmate Dylan Laube out of UNH, running back.
UNH.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Go look him up. You guys haven't.
I
heard
will
of
say
Dylan
no.
Laube?
He was definitely popping. He definitely popped when I saw him run the 40 and he was doing the other drills. I will say he was. I noticed him.
I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
I'm just saying
I
we gotta throw some notice at Danny Woodhead Jr. That's all I'm saying.
Oh god.
I didn't list anybody I haven't watched, and I watched zero UNH football.
Well, maybe you should go back on your tape and go watch some Dylan Laube highlights and come back to me. Okay?
Yeah.
Great. All right. What do we got next? Let's look at the wide receivers.
So of course, the first receiver I was thinking about was Xavier Worthy. Broke the record for the 40-yard dash. Knew he was fast, but not that fast.
Nope, that's a good one.
Yeah, and so he might jump up to like the first round just for being fast. Somebody might be crazy enough to do it.
Well, I mean,
Chiefs,
we saw it with John Ross.
yeah, exactly. Chiefs might just say, "Hey, run past the mountains," and Mahomes will throw it. And then another one was Lad McConkey. I personally didn't think he was going to be that fast. Maybe a little skin tone bias.
Yeah, he's quicker than fast, you know?
Yeah, that's what I thought we were going to be saying after the combine, but bro came under sub 4.4, and people were comparing him to Garrett Wilson afterwards.
High praise.
Yeah.
Yep. His height, weight, and 40 time are almost identical to Garrett Wilson. I saw the tweet he's talking about. That's why that's out there.
And then the next two I had were the two tall, like 6'2" guys running 4.33s, 4.34, Brian Thomas and AD Mitchell. Not gonna try to pronounce.
Adonai.
Yeah.
Listen, man, Adonai Mitchell has quickly become one of my draft crushes this year. That's somebody I'd like to see in a Patriots jersey. Obviously, with our community in draft chat, we had our group mock draft, and I paid a hefty price to get back up into the first round and leap the likes of Ken to go and take AD Mitchell, and I really hope that we can see that.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
Yeah,
especially if y'all get a quarterback in the first round.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get your quarterback too, Jaden Daniels. Anyways, let's keep it going.
Yeah. So, and then the last receiver I had was Keon Coleman. He didn't run fast in the 40, but he ran fast on the field. So that's what really matters. And so he ran the fastest gauntlet drill recorded in like the last 2 or 3 years. And you love when he can perform. And
Is there a ghost behind you?
yeah, a ghost. Yeah, and when he can perform well on the field, and he was catching everything, and that's what we want from our receivers.
All right, now let's get 3 more guys that you thought really did well, regardless of the position that we haven't touched yet. Get me some guys that really stood out to you, just rapid fire.
So the first one is Quinyon Mitchell. He ran hella fast. He came out long, and he already has ball production. So he probably jumped into many people's corner one. And then you have Braden Fisk. He came out running, basically compared the same thing as Quinn. What's the defensive tackle from the Jets?
Quentin
Uh,
Williams.
Quinton
Yep.
Williams. He basically tested out and measured the same as Quinton Williams, and so he probably looked like a first rounder in some people's eyes. And the last one that I had was Amarius Mims. He came out like 6'6", 370 with like 36-inch arms and something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be up there running for OT 3 or 4 just from being that much of a monster, and he still ran like a fast 40 for that size.
Another position the Patriots should be looking at this year, the offensive tackle spot, especially with us opting to franchise tag or transition tag Kyle Duggar, and we're gonna be letting Mike Onwenu test free agency. So we do not have a starting tackle on our roster right now. It's a problem, and a guy like Amarius Mims might be somebody the Patriots look at.
Yep.
But you have 3 fallers.
Yeah, it was tough for these guys. Audric Estime, a running back, he ran like 4.7 as a running back. That he
Oof.
might go undrafted at that point.
That's tough. Yeah.
Yeah, he was already like a 4th or 5th round guy before that. Yeah, I could see him not getting drafted at all. Like guys like Kyron Williams and stuff like that, how they fell, I could see him doing the same thing. Who's the other one? And it
Ennis
was
Rakestraw out of Missouri.
oh yeah, and it's Rextra. I love this tape. He tackles well and all that stuff, but he came out small and slow. It can't be a
Small
small.
and slow. Not a good
Yeah.
combination.
You
And then
can be
Yeah.
small, you can be slow. You can't be both.
Exactly.
then you have
And then
Kalen King out of Penn State.
and Kalen King, he came out slow. He didn't look good in ball drills, man, and he was tough at Senior Bowl. So, oh man, I loved him like at the beginning of the season, but I don't know what's happened to this man since.
And again, corner is another position the Patriots could be looking at in this draft because we cut J.C. Jackson. Jack Jones no longer on the team. Your only real starting corners are Christian Gonzalez, who's coming back from the injury, and Jonathan Jones, who is a really good slot corner, not great elsewhere, and Marcus Jones, who's also coming off of an injury and is more of a utility player. So
Is my guy not with you guys anymore from Ohio State that you guys got from the Ravens?
Sean Wade.
Yeah,
Sean Wade's been a ghost, man. That's who you're looking for behind you. I haven't seen him.
damn.
I really like the Sean Wade upside. I thought in college a really good slot corner.
Yeah,
That
I thought
maybe you could have worked something with him. Just didn't pan out how we hoped. I think he might have played 1 or 2 games.
okay.
I
Not
don't mean to throw salt into the wound, Caleb, but would it be easier to say what positions the Patriots aren't looking for in this draft?
It would be, and it's mostly on defense.
Yeah.
We don't need any linebackers. We don't need any defensive linemen. Don't really need an edge rusher. Don't really need any safety help.
Is Uche coming back?
That's TBD. I don't see it, especially with how little he was used. But we have Keon White, who can maybe play that opposite edge role, and then we just have some hybrids kind of doing the
Judon's still with you guys, right?
Judon's still with us, coming back from the torn tricep, I believe. Yeah, it's a weird year, but that defense I still expect to be pretty solid.
I mean, if you guys, it's a good year not to need edge if you guys got Keon White and Judon. So
Yep.
I'd love to see some more Keon White. I really would. But
yeah.
all
I
right,
think
I think it was more of a project, so you guys just had to, you have the offseason to develop him and all that.
Foxboro flu, as we call it. Trent, what were you saying?
I was going to say Matthew Judon might have the best Twitter account of any NFL player, just openly tampering with every player in the league.
Maybe he should have been Belichick's replacement, player GM. Why not?
He'd have got stuff done from what it sounds like.
Yeah, I don't know how he knows so many people.
He's a popular dude. He's fun to like. He's easy energy, But yeah, all right. So some other names. I'll run through the list. that you threw up there. For tight ends, Patriots could use some of those. Theo Johnson out of Penn State, Jared Wiley, TCU, Tip Ryman out of Illinois. 3 guys that Patriots could be looking at as well, with Hunter Henry
A
going.
270-pound tight end, Tip Ryman.
Ooh. And then
Yeah, I
obviously your
think
offensive lineman, your defensive lineman. Yeah.
the Penn State guy, I'm pretty sure had
A 10.
measurable wise the best combine of any tight end ever.
Projected to go first round now?
No, I don't know about all that.
Brock
but
Bowers is still the only tight end going
Yeah.
first round.
Yeah.
All right. That's good news for me. That's good news for us. All right. Now let's get to the real position of need. Obviously, the combine wasn't like, I don't think that impactful on a lot of QB rankings. I think we kind of just we have our feelings on who's 1, who's 2, who's 3, who's 4. Obviously, the 1 is near unanimous. I say near because there are a lot of red flags and a lot of serious concerns as it is to Kaleb Williams' attitude, his production against good defenses in college. There's some red flags there. And then obviously people have their opinions of Drake May versus Jaden Daniels. Both have upsides to their game, both have downsides. You just kind of pick and choose which kind of game you want. And then JJ McCarthy, who has been subjected to a lot of energetic opinions, I will say. A lot of polarizing opinions. There's a lot of strong kind of takes as it pertains to JJ McCarthy. I haven't watched a whole lot of film yet, Ken. I'm still waiting on us to get together to really hammer that out.
Our schedules together.
Yeah, we were supposed to do that like a week ago, and I just kind of lost track of time there. But I will get around to watching film with Ken, and then I will give you my official opinion on JJ McCarthy, my official opinion on Jaden Daniels, Drake May, give you an idea of who I want, and then the usual Kaleb special of this guy who's going to go in the 4th round that I'm really going to love. Aiden O'Connell was it last year?
Yeah.
And that worked out actually pretty well.
Yeah.
All things considered, nobody expected Aiden O'Connell to do the things he did in Vegas last year. But all right, let's start backwards. Let's go to QB4, who Trent is gonna probably say should be in the conversation for QB3 or QB2 by the end of this. JJ McCarthy, quarterback of Michigan, national championship winner. Yeah. Let's just dive right into it. Trent, I'm gonna let you set the stage here with your guy JJ McCarthy. This is your day one. This is your boy. There is nobody better to lay out the positives of JJ McCarthy, of what a team could be looking for, and then a fit, and then maybe why the Patriots should consider him at 3 if you can do that. So the floor is yours.
Well, so right now, the way I look at it, I would probably have JJ as my QB3. We'll get into the other guys more in a little bit.
I'm interested to see I'm interested to see who you bump down to 4. But
I'll save it for later then.
Yeah,
but I kind of, and this is probably unpopular, I kind of break them off into tiers. There's the top 2 guys, a little bit of a break, JJ, a little bit of a break, and then
wow, okay.
number 4, and then a number 4 and 5, and then a big drop off after that.
There's another quarterback that you would throw. Okay, all right, I'm here for it. Let's do it.
Yeah. So the main thing about JJ, and the thing that's been frustrating to me about the conversation behind him, is that they're comparing JJ in terms of a finished product to a guy like Kaleb Williams, who I believe had an extra year in college than JJ did. Definitely an extra year as an on-field contributor. Jaden Daniels has been in college since the Bush administration, it feels like. There's not a knock on him, but I don't know how fair it is to compare how Jaden looks to how JJ looks. But he's super young. I don't even know if he's 21 yet. He's 21 at the most right now.
He's a 2003 baby. That's what I know.
Yeah. So he's got that going for him. He has one of the things that I really like about JJ in terms of, one, he's a really good athlete. I'm really bummed out he didn't run the 40 because there would have been a lot of people surprised by how fast he is. He's faster than Blake Corum, like pretty solidly faster than Blake Corum. And if he runs the 40 time at Michigan's Pro Day, you'll see that. Super athletic. he had issues in games of making bad decisions, but there were always games where he didn't really need to lock in. Like he's had 3 bad games. One of them he obviously did need to lock in. He did not play his best game against TCU in the playoff 2 years ago. He had a really bad game against Bowling Green, and he had a really bad game against Maryland. Other than that, he has been in the role he's had carved out phenomenal. And in every big moment he's had to step up. The final drive, the final quarter against Ohio State this year was perfect. The Ohio State game last year, he was perfect, was phenomenal in the Big Ten game 2 years ago, Big Ten title game 2 years ago. The Iowa game this year, he didn't look great, but we also won 21-0. We weren't really trying to show anything. The final quarter against Alabama was perfect in the Rose Bowl this past year. This guy steps it up and locks in, and in these biggest moments, he's never making a mistake. There's never a moment in these late game situations where I'm like trying to pull my hair out. Like, why is JJ doing that? And I think the fact that he's got the mental aspect of the game that down at his age, when you don't really know if Caleb Williams has the mental aspect down, that's going to be one of his big knocks. I look, he's not a finished product. I think he could have used another year in college to kind of sharpen some things out, to kind of refine himself. I think he would be best to go to a situation where he can sit under a guy for a year. I think Minnesota's the perfect spot. If he can sit under Kirk for a year or two.
Or the
And
Rams.
or the Rams. The Rams would be another great spot for him. But to kind of wrap it up into a long story long, I know I'm kind of pontificating.
And to make sure you don't spoil your QB rankings yet.
I won't. But
I will give you the word when to do that.
In terms of ceiling potential, I think there are 2 guys who clearly have higher potential than JJ. I think JJ has by far the highest floor of any quarterback in this class. I would not be surprised if half of the guys we're going to talk about are third string nobodies or out of the league by the end of their rookie contract. I would be shocked if JJ is not at the very least a top tier backup Gardner Minshew type for the rest of his career.
All right, we let Trent air it out. We let him set the stage for us. Ken is gonna do his best job to alter things the way he perceives them, and then we'll go from there. I like to think that I'm an okay moderator on the hostile subjects like this one, but I don't know. We'll see. Ken, JJ McCarthy, what is your rebuttal?
So my rebuttal is he does have the mental, but his body doesn't go with what his mind says most of the time. And so that basically reminds me of a lot of like a Blake Bortles type. So that's so he has the arm strength, he has the athleticism, and he had a great team around him so that he didn't have to fuck up too much. Basically, oh, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, he didn't have to. He just don't mess up. Basically, with the Jaguars, you put him on a team like that, and you're telling them, hey, you have a great running back, you have a good offensive line, you have 2 good receivers. Just don't mess it up. So if you put him on a team like if he had been on a team like that, that's why you become successful. But I just didn't see him reading the field well. According to all the interviews he did, he's able to look on a chalkboard and say what he's supposed to do, but he didn't do that well past the first or second read a lot of the times. And but he was able to do that in college when he had like Roman Wilson, who was a great like slot guy who was able to get open well. He did really well with that. So I won't say that he will be a horrible quarterback, but just like him, just like Trent, I do think that no matter what, he will be a great backup quarterback at the least. So if you want to say that's a great floor, then he does have a good floor for that. But I just don't want to draft that in like the top 10 like a lot of people are saying. Like it would be like a late first or early second rounder. That's why I would think of him.
So you think JJ shouldn't be in the conversation with the first 3 guys?
Yeah, I don't.
And post combine, you still believe that there isn't really a conversation to be had.
The combine didn't help him. I mean, the on field didn't help with JJ altogether, in my opinion. but apparently he did good in interviews, so that's gonna make like teams love him even more.
So do you think, and I'll ask this question to both of you guys here, do you think that JJ McCarthy going top 10 is just like positional value of just that we need a quarterback, so we're going to trade up above everybody else to go get one? Or is it
It's
because JJ McCarthy is genuinely supposed to be in this top 10? This is where he belongs. Ken, I know you kind of outlined your opinion on that second part. So give me the first one. Are they leaping up not only
I think it's three
because
part.
they believe in JJ McCarthy, or is it because QBs are such it's a hard find?
I think it's three part. I think it's because next year's class looks like it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It's because he's young and athletic, so that's you're gonna love that above a lot. And the third part is it's a quarterback. So I think it's those three things all together.
All right, Trent, what do you think?
I do think it's a little bit of positional value. I agree with Ken on a lot of what he said, but I also don't look at it as an issue. He's got the size, he's got the speed, he's got the mental, he's not going to sell you out in these big moments. Stuff like reading the field and things like that, those are the things he needs to work on, but that's the things that he can work on in the NFL. I mean, I'm not going to say that he was great at reading the field, but I also don't think he was horrible either. I also hate this idea that he just got carried by a great team around him when his receiving room consisted of Roman Wilson, who I don't believe should be a top 2 round pick. I love Roman to death. I think Roman's great, but I don't think Roman is anything special. Cornelius Johnson, it was I love him to death. I don't like talking bad about my Michigan guys, but we had one of the worst receiving cores in the entire Big Ten. Pretty confidently. I feel pretty confident in saying that. We did not have that great of a receiving core, and nobody said we had a receiving core until JJ started getting credit. No, now Roman's a first round pick and all this. But I think teams are going to see all of the stuff you want in a guy. It's cliche, but the intangible stuff, the size, the speed, the mental, things like that. JJ's already got that down. I don't think there's another quarterback in this class that can say that they've already got all three down pat. There's better quarterbacks now that I've got him as my quarterback, QB3. There's guys who are better right now. They are drafting JJ off of this is what he already has. He has all the tools that we can mold him into whatever. He's not going to have the blazing speed of a Jaden Daniels. I don't even know if he has the arm strength of a Jaden Daniels either. He's got good arm strength, but I don't know if he's got arm strength like that. And I don't know if he has I don't even know what to call it of a Caleb Williams, but he's not like that either. But he's the guy.
The improvisation.
Yeah, well,
The
I would say
improv.
he has the improvisation just because JJ wasn't asked to do a lot because that's how Jim Harbaugh's offense works is we run the ball. Like I said, there were moments that Alabama game, many parts of that TCU game where they got into a shootout and they won the game. Just because JJ wasn't asked to do something does not mean that he couldn't do it because there were plenty of games that you can point to where he did that and he did it pretty damn well.
And before I kind of pitch the next question here, do you have any follow-ups?
I think that's more for me. It's just spurts. I For the other quarterbacks, it's that I have above him. It's that I saw less spurts and it was more a long version of seeing it happen. So
So
I have
there's more volume with the other quarterbacks, is what you're saying.
yeah. So that's what pushes that also helps them above him.
All right. Trent.
Yeah, and that's super valid. Like that is definitely valid of wanting to actually see it more. Like I watched every snap of Michigan football this year, so I've seen enough of it. You would have to watch every single Michigan game to get a sample size that's even semi close to guys like Caleb and Jaden Daniels and Drake May who were just airing it out the entire game every single week.
All right, Trent. This is my my question to you before we kind of get out the QB rankings and then we talk about the best fits for New England. This is the New England centric question here, and I want to see if you can do it or if you think this is the one spot where it doesn't work. Should the Patriots consider JJ McCarthy at 3? And if they should, can you tell me why?
I don't. The problem with that is there's so many questions about what New England is going to be as far as talent development, things like that, with the sweeping changes they made. If my top 2 guys, who we'll get to in a second, are gone at 1 and 2, which I think they're going to be, I would take Marvin Harrison Jr. Personally. I would take Marvin Harrison Jr. And if you gotta ride another year with Bailey Zappi or Mac Jones, it's not the greatest.
No. We're not doing that. We are not doing it. Well, I will take Joe Flacco without a good backup. I will.
And then sign Baker Mayfield, sign Gardner Minshew, sign whoever.
Joe Flacco. That's the guy. That's the guy.
Yeah, I would not, with the Patriots situation right now, you guys need so much. I would take the best player available. And I would just go Marvin Harrison, and you figure it out. I mean, next year's quarterback class is gross, so I don't think you're going to find your guy there either. But I don't think it would be best for the Patriots in particular to reach on JJ at 3 now.
All right, thought I'd ask. Ken, I assume that you feel kind of the same way.
I don't want any quarterback going to the Patriots right now.
Okay, we'll take your unbiased hat off, Ken. All right. This is a Patriots podcast. I need you to kind of get with the program here, all right? Not to do my best Belichick impression here, but
I think I'm gonna say Jaden, and then you guys just draft offensive line and receiver in a class that has amazing wide receiver and offensive tackle depth.
So you also don't think quarterback should be in the plan?
Yeah. So yeah, just go wide receiver, go offensive tackle in the second. Something like that.
Listen, if we're gonna do that, trade down. If that's what we're gonna do.
I mean, what if you end up with like Troy Fontenot with your second round pick, and you end up with Marvin Harrison in your first, so you already have a franchise receiver.
Listen, I like that, but we can stack the hell out of the picks, and we can get a lot of stuff. Listen, I love Marvin Harrison Jr. as much as the next guy from everything that I can see. I like the other receivers too. I like them enough to say I can stomach that for getting more talent through the rest of the draft or in future drafts. Would I want to drop down to 11 with Minnesota? Not my ideal preference. I'd like to drop down to 6 if that's what we're going to do. And hopefully the Giants kind of pay up a little bit more. But as you guys know pretty well, I'm in the take the quarterback camp. As much as I don't know enough about the quarterbacks yet. Like I said, in a week or two, I will come back here after talking with Ken and getting some film in me, and I can say, yes, I want this guy, and here's why. I don't want this guy. I'm expecting to look real heavily into Drake May. I think that's who's going to be there at 3, and that's that call we're going to make. Whether it's we want Drake May or if we want to go somewhere else. But speaking of other quarterbacks, Trent, I know you have an interesting quarterback ranking that's going to sparkle some conversation, but because of that, I'm going to Ken first. Ken, give me your top 5 quarterbacks. Give me the 4 first-round guys that are going to go, and then give me a 5th.
All right. So my top 4, my top 5, I just go. So my number 1 is Drake May.
Ooh, okay. Let tell me why.
I wasn't already a fan of Caleb Williams before the season started, and then I saw him do even worse against good defenses this year. So it didn't make me raise him at all. And then when I saw Drake May, I saw him be able to struggle with no offensive line, no running backs, and he only got one receiver halfway through the year in Tez Walker, and he looked great to me, except for I think against Virginia, was it? I think it was only one game against like a horrible. He had one bad game against a horrible team, and then a lot of people downed him. But
Drake May, that does ring familiar. Trent, can you?
It was the Clemson game, wasn't it?
No, it was against a bad team. It was like Virginia.
Was it Minnesota? It might have been Minnesota.
No, they clapped Minnesota. I was watching that game.
I can't remember.
But yeah, I can't remember the exact team. But I'm thinking it's either Virginia or Virginia Tech.
Let me go through the stats.
I think it was Virginia.
Yeah, he had a bad
West
game against.
Virginia, 30-10.
Is that
Apparently.
okay? And then so yeah, I saw him be able to. He showed off arm strength. I'm pretty sure he was also North Carolina's leading rusher. So and most people don't think about Drake May as about how athletic he is, but
Oh, wait, no,
he
that was
showed
the
that off.
bowl game where nobody played.
He lost to Virginia. I'm
Georgia
90
Tech, he lost in a shootout. NC State, he lost by 19.
NC
NC State
State was
had
good.
yeah, I was about to say they had way more talent.
Yeah, NC State was actually sleepy. It was sleeper good. Not a lot of people talked about NC State, but they were really good.
They keep a good they keep a good defense on them.
Mm-hmm.
They showed out with what's his name with it who had a lot of injuries.
Clemson, they lost 39-10. That's not great.
Yeah, they never do good against Clemson. Clemson's another team that is out talents them.
Not seeing any like box score that would suggest something bad, but I don't know.
Yeah, they lost to Virginia 31-27.
Yeah, okay, so it was okay. Because I think at that point Virginia only had like 2 wins or something like that.
Yeah, Virginia was awful. Bad. They were one of the worst teams in Division One this past year.
So that loss is inexcusable. But the tools that I saw from him and him actually able to dissect defenses most of the year, I loved it over what I saw from Kaleb, where he was just throwing to wide open receivers when he did play against horrible defenses in the Pac-12,
Yep.
Pac-2 now.
Yep.
But
Pack doesn't exist anymore. 1 Pac, 2 Pac, 3 Pac, 4, no Pacs, none. Shout out to 8 Mile.
Yeah, and then so my quarterback too is Caleb Williams though, just because of he reminds me a lot of that mixture of Mahomes and Kyler Murray that a lot of people talked about, where he just has to be developed really well, and I think that he'll look good. So if he went to the Commanders instead of Drake May, I think that would look amazing with him there instead of Drake May. So, a lot of quarterback stuff always happens of where you land and all that. So, yeah. And then with the Bears, I think that they should go Drake May because of they don't have as much with they would be building around him instead of putting him in a system that he has to be built.
Mm-hmm.
And my QB3 is Jaden Daniels. What you call it? He offers both that dual threat ability that everybody loves. He reminds me a lot of that mixture of Lamar and RG3. And the only problem that I really see with him is that he needs to probably throw short more. But if that's your complaint, I can't really complain too much that he likes to throw deep most of the time. And then he had Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas as his deep threat. So of course that's why he liked to throw deep so much. So yeah. And then my quarterback 4 is JJ McCarthy because I have
All
something to
reasons
build.
we've gone over. Yeah.
Yeah. And then my QB5 right now is Michael Penix.
Okay.
I don't like lefties. I have something against lefties. I don't know what it is.
Well,
Just
you're not a card carrying member of Tuanon? Shame.
definitely not.
I was. That's egg on my face.
Yeah.
Knows how much I know about football.
But I mean, Tua was something before he broke his hip.
No kidding. But Penix is interesting. I was really high on him coming out of that playoff game. It's a shame just how violent of a turn things went. And everybody's like, yeah, nope, bad knees, getting old. It's tough.
Bad knees, bad shoulders. Yeah, it's tough.
Could have been something if he could stay healthy.
Kaleb, do you know where Jaden Daniels started his college career?
Arizona State.
Do you know who his head coach was?
Lincoln Riley?
Oh,
no. Arizona State.
Herm Edwards was his head coach at Arizona State.
Ah, okay. I should have known that.
Do you guys know what current head coach they coached him in college?
Oh.
Give me a hint.
AFC.
AFC team coached him in college.
I know this too. Oh, is it? No, he's not AFC. I
I
can't
hate
think.
dead air. Tell me.
I can't think of it.
Antonio Pierce.
Oh,
Ooh.
that's right. I heard that. I forgot about
He
that.
was at Arizona State. Yep. Before everybody got fired.
And it was. I thought
He
there was
was on
another
Herm's
story about
staff,
Antonio
wasn't he?
Pierce coaching another quarterback
Say
in
again?
like high school or something. I thought Antonio Pierce had another story
I
like
mean, he
that.
probably did. He coached in California, and I forget what the name of the school is. They put out a lot of talent.
Was
In
it Sierra
Matterdale?
High School?
I think it was maybe Matter Day.
Yeah.
But he coached there, and they won like for like 5 years straight. And he used to they I remember they told a story. If they didn't blow out a team, he was mad. So that so
That's the kind of coach the Raiders need right now. It is.
what did they blow out last year? And he was telling he
Chargers.
was that, and then he
Yeah,
just said,
where he dropped like 70 on their heads.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
All
they actually thought about hiring somebody else. That's crazy.
right, Trent. I know your quarterback rankings are going to be quite controversial. So let's dive right in. Give me the 5.
I don't know how controversial they're gonna be. I don't think we're
When you said a gap and then another 2 and JJ McCarthy wasn't in that bottom gap, that's what makes it interesting.
well, I don't think there's like a big gap, and I'll explain why. And I think Ken's gonna disagree a lot. My QB1 is Jaden Daniels, actually, because there is the knock on him that he likes to go deep too much. He holds onto the ball too long. He takes massive shots. He takes like rookie year Andrew Luck type
Yeah,
shots, and he's not built like Andrew Luck. So if he takes those shots in the NFL, he's not going to last long. But he's got a cannon. He's got really nice touch on the ball. I feel like people don't give him enough credit for how good his touch is, and he's a freakazoid athlete as well. How much of his production at LSU was because of having 2 first rounders at wide receiver. Mind you, we never asked these questions about Joe Burrow having 2 first
We
round
asked those
wide
questions here
receivers.
on this show.
We ask those questions on this podcast. Nobody else wants to ask those questions about Joe Burrow, but that's besides the point. I don't want to get off on a tangent. Anyway.
We'll get into some more Burrow talk later. We will.
But I really like the upside Jaden has. If he tweaks some things, I think he is the highest ceiling of any quarterback in this class. And I think that the margins are so narrow between him, my QB2, which is Caleb Williams. For a lot of the reasons Ken said, there's a lot of flash. You see the big play ability. There's the maturity, which seems to be a big question with him. I think it's been overblown to an extent. I think a lot of the stuff out there in the media is more about his dad than about him, but we'll see. We'll see when he gets on the field. I don't think Caleb's going to be nearly as much of a head case as people think he is, but I mean,
Thanks. I appreciate that that pat of the back of support. I don't think I'm a head case either.
what? Oh,
Caleb.
but I think he's got a lot to offer. He has some questions about him. My QB3 is JJ for the reasons I said. My QB4 is Drake May, and
Now pause.
What?
What makes Drake May lower than JJ McCarthy? I want that synopsis, and then you can talk into.
Because I think his floor is a whole lot lower than JJ's is. And I don't think his ceiling is as high as guys like Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams. That's kind of a dumb, like, first take narrative-ish answer, but I don't see a lot of wow when I watch Drake May. Maybe I just haven't dove enough into the film, but he looks.
You're more than welcome to the film section we're gonna have.
Let me know. I'm there. I would love to do that. But Drake May, I don't see a lot of wow when I watch him play. I see a lot of boneheaded decisions that he makes. It's a lazy comparison to say he kind of reminds me of Sam Howell, but he does. Since they both just played at North Carolina. But he would be sorry.
Got a jersey comparison.
Yep, it is absolutely the jersey comparison. But I have him as my QB4. I do like Drake May, though. I don't want to make it sound like I don't. My top 4 QBs, I think there's a lot of promise there with all 4 of them. I think it's the deepest quarterback class we've had in a while now. I don't think a lot of people would agree with that, but I've been saying forever that prospect wise, I'm not sure how many guys over the last couple of years I'd have taken over. Or no, I've got it backwards. But last year's was really good. But before that, I think this is a really good class. My QB5 would be Penix. I think Penix has a lot of talent, but old, bad knees. Played the most physical team he played all year, roughed him up bad when he played Michigan in the national championship game. But he looked good in Senior Bowl practices. He was the best quarterback at the combine. If he was 4 years younger and didn't have double knee ACL surgery, I think he would be a lot higher on a lot of people's lists. After that, it is a crater. Do not draft Bo Nix. He shouldn't even be on your board. He's awful. He stinks. I wouldn't even want him on my team as a backup.
Can you agree?
Captain Dump Off.
Yeah. The word, I don't mean to cut you off. The word check down artist gets thrown around a lot. It has never been more applicable than Bo Nix.
He had like 70% of his throws be lower than 10 yards.
Yep.
That's disgusting.
Unbelievable. And he's been in college since the Obama administration.
Yeah, he's also been in college since the 2016 election. Yeah.
All right. So let's get into our fun activity for the day. Shall we?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Trent, you proposed this to me back before the Super Bowl, I believe. And
Yep.
And here's how it's going to go. I've dug up the last decade's worth of first-round quarterbacks. There's plenty. We're going to look at where they were drafted, how they panned out, and we can discuss how the Patriots can avoid some of these mistakes or replicate the successes pending we take a quarterback. You guys aren't as convinced on the Patriots should take a quarterback or if they will. But let's just put ourselves in the shoes that we're going to take one. Whether it's Daniels, whether it's May, whether it's even McCarthy. Imagine that we're taking one for this exercise. When we get to the end and we talk about all the quarterbacks that busted, that succeeded, why they might have succeeded, what kind of surroundings they had around them. And we're just going to go from there. Sound good? Great.
Do you have a list? Because I have a list too.
I typed it up on the Google Doc.
Okay, but
one central location.
Cool.
But we're going to start off with 2014. The first quarterback taken off the board in the 2014 NFL Draft was Blake Bortles for Jacksonville. Pick number 3. Blake Bortles, obviously, not a great career. He had a couple of really good
championship.
Got to an AFC championship, obviously. Had a really good year in 2015. He threw like 35 touchdowns and like 4,000 yards. But something didn't work out in Jacksonville. Whether it was he wasn't good enough, whether the team wasn't great. He didn't have the best coaches. I don't know how much stock you want to put into having Gus Bradley be your first head coach in the NFL, but that's the deal.
I was about to say, you're telling me something didn't go well in Jacksonville? Color me shocked. No way.
History seems to tell a tale, but Ken, let's start off with you with Blake Bortles. What was the deal there? How do we kind of synopsize his career there?
He came into a trash team. They finally built everything up, and then buddy from the Giants, Tom Coughlin. Coughlin came and said, "You know what? You guys are too good now. Let's let everybody go." That's the quick synopsis of what happened in Jacksonville.
Yeah. Bortles, I mean, we talked about it earlier. Strong arm, had all the tools that you really needed. Just not enough support on the coaching staff.
They had the 2 years of having good stuff, and then Tom Coughlin said, "You guys want to be better than you should be."
Trent, you got any thoughts on the Blake Bortles thing?
Not much other than, Ken, you will not see heaven for comparing J.J. McCarthy to Blake Bortles. You will not see heaven. I will make sure of it.
Hey, if he goes third overall, you're happy as a Michigan guy, right?
No, because I don't want him on the Patriots. Bias aside, I don't think it's a good move for the Patriots. bias on, I would be disgusted to see JJ McCarthy in a Patriots uniform.
That being said, for your birthday or Christmas, if that happens, I'm sending you a jersey,
I would,
and
I
you'll wear it with pride.
but the jerseys are ugly though. Like if the jerseys look cool,
What
I would
about the
wear
red one? What if I get you the red one?
like the throwback.
Yeah, the red one.
I'd wear that. I'd rock
Okay.
that. I'd rock that with no problems.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually.
Okay. And same thing with Jaden Daniels, Ken. I'm gonna do it.
I'm not wearing it. Yeah.
Listen, man. This is a blast from the past. Only some people. If you've been following my career for 4 years, you'll know who I'm talking about. But I had this friend who was a Ravens fan. His name was Miles, actually. Miles Hill from Live from the Hammock. We had a bet in 2020 that if the Patriots won, or 2019, it started in 2019. If the Patriots beat the Ravens on Sunday Night Football, he would have to buy a Patriots jersey. If the Patriots lost, I'd have to buy a Ravens jersey. I had a Lamar Jackson jersey because we got smoked. That was our first loss of the year in 2019. Podcast didn't work out. I couldn't get on the camera. The internet was weird, and I had a Lamar Jackson jersey. I had to wear it at some point. 2020, I say, okay, this game, if the Patriots win somehow, because the Patriots weren't all that great at that point in the year, you have to buy a Patriots jersey. Patriots win, he has to buy a James White jersey. And then
that was when we played like a hurricane, basically.
yeah. That was when it only rained when you guys were on offense,
Okay.
and your center couldn't handle a snap to save his life.
Yeah.
So that following week, I show up in a Lamar Jackson jersey. He shows up in a James White jersey, and we do a dual stream. It was great. I need to get Miles on the show. I miss him to death. I will be sure to get him. I'll get him on at some point. But all that aside, let's go to the next quarterback. Another AFC North product, Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football at pick number 22. Anybody else when they were a kid loved Johnny Football? I did.
How can you not? You had to be such a stick in the mud if you were 13, 14 years old and you didn't think Johnny Manziel was the most badass.
There's one core memory about Johnny Manziel for me. There's a YouTube video out there with his highlight package that has "I Mean It" by G-Eazy in the background, and I've seen that video about 1,000 times. The song was killer. The highlights were great. Johnny Manziel was a fun football player, fun guy. When he got to the NFL, it all sucked.
Can you imagine just going to the NFL and not caring and still balling out?
Jay Cutler did.
Yeah,
Type of not caring.
Jay Cutler did.
Have you ever seen the Tavon Austin Hell and Back highlight video?
I have not seen the highlight video, but I have seen the TikToks about it.
The best highlight.
I'm sending it to you right now, and you're gonna watch it after.
All right, and I'll send you.
You can't be a YKB boy if you've never seen the Hell and Back Tavon Austin video.
Have you seen the Aaron Hernandez locked up video? No. We'll talk about the dynasty next week. Yeah, so Johnny Football. We all kind of know what went wrong there, right?
Yeah.
Head case. Not a great athlete, not a great player. He had Mike Evans to throw to all college football career long and made the most of it. And the Browns were a poverty organization that couldn't keep him under control. Recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Did I sum that up pretty good?
Yeah.
Let's go to number 3. Go ahead.
Nothing. I was just gonna say is just like a funny aside. When I was a kid and I would play football in gym class, or this is very unprofessional, but I'm sending Kaleb the video. Okay, I just sent it to him. There were 3 people whose touchdown celebrations I did whenever I played in the backyard with my friends in gym class or whatever. It was the Money Manziel, it was the Colin Kaepernick kiss the tattoos, and it was the Denard Robinson like kneel down. It's not the Tebow. I don't care what anyone says. That's Denard Robinson.
Do you know him as Shoelace?
Hell yeah. That's my guy. That's my favorite football player of all time, Denard Robinson.
He came from down the street from me.
Did he really?
Yeah, Deerfield.
Oh, nice.
You guys want to know my go-to gym class touchdown celebration?
What's that?
It was the Aaron Rodgers, the belt.
That is sick.
Love that one. Especially because I was unathletic and I like to pretend that I was. Because I couldn't run fast and I couldn't get open at all. They just had me play the quarterback position. I wasn't a great thrower, but I could do enough. And I like to try the off balance Aaron Rodgers, just chuck it up
Off
sideways
the
and
back
see what
foot.
happens. God, I miss when Aaron Rodgers was fun. I do. I really, really do.
Yeah.
But NFC North, Teddy Bridgewater, pick number 32.
Teddy Two Gloves.
Teddy Two Gloves.
Yep.
Loved him. I did. I loved him early on. I thought he was really interesting, really fun, really easy to cheer for. Obviously, the knee injury did a lot, but I also don't think he was special in the NFL.
He was like a dual threat that wasn't really fast and didn't have a strong arm. So it was like, I don't know. And then he wasn't really fast, and then he tore his ACL.
So let me throw this out there and tell me if it's not a great comparison, because it was 10 years ago. I don't remember that much. Teddy Bridgewater to Tagovailoa. Is there a comparison to be made there?
I'm not high, so yes.
There is a comparison to be made there.
Yeah, both they're not strong arms. They're more accurate. So yeah, I can see that.
All right. All right. And obviously two other quarterbacks that were notable from that draft that had a level of success in the NFL. We can't say they didn't, as much as things don't look great now. You have Derek Carr and you have Jimmy G. Both quarterbacks came out of that class, and for what it was worth, as second-round picks that didn't really expect to do much, they had okay careers. Jimmy G made a Super Bowl. Derek Carr got MVP votes.
Derek Carr, the best Raiders quarterback ever. I don't
He's
know.
up there. He's up there.
I don't know. Rich Gannon, man. Rich Gannon was a bad.
Thankfully, 2015, there's only two. And we'll give a shout out to a third. I believe that was that season. We'll give a shout out to a third. Let's talk about the top two. Jameis Winston in Tampa Bay. I didn't think that was a great pick from the jump.
Really?
I was not a Jameis Winston fan.
I was.
You were? All right, so what went wrong?
Well, he never got over the, if I'm throwing it, it don't matter who's out there. I'm throwing it. He never got over that.
Easy to do when you have Mike Evans, and even then he screwed it up.
I mean, he put up 50 touchdowns with
in like 30 picks.
Yeah. He throwing it to somebody.
He has a record for the most completed passes if you count the the defensive percentage.
Somebody's coming down with this ball.
Yeah.
And obviously kind of an underrated head case too.
Yeah. I mean, I love Jameis Winston off the field, bro.
Do you?
Yes. I mean, like interviews, what he be saying.
There's a good reason to not like Jameis Winston.
You're talking about I'm talking about funny stuff, bro.
He is funny. Look. Some people can get past it. With him, I personally can't. We don't need to get into like a whole conversation about it. His videos are funny. I just, when I see Jameis, like, he's hilarious. I can't, personally, I can't get past it.
How did you guys feel about the incident at the end of the Falcons Saints game at the end of the year?
I loved it. I'm a scorer. I play Madden in real life.
I mean, the whole situation. Trent, were we on the same page on this?
I think Jameis should have, like, all my personal opinions about Jameis aside, he should have been cut. Like, straight up.
Okay, good. We're on the same page.
Nobody in that organization, on that team, anything should respect Dennis Allen. Not that he had much of a reason to be respected beforehand, but if he's going to let a backup quarterback who's lucky to even have a job in the NFL punk him out like that, and then just openly say, like, yeah, we just didn't do what he said in the post game afterward. Nah.
Like, I don't think it would have been as big of a deal if they just ran a play. Like if they told Dennis Allen, "Hey, screw you, we're gonna run a play," but trying to get cute with it and run it from the QB kneel formation, I hate that. It's gross.
Yeah, that is one of the most punk moves I've ever seen on a football field.
Gross.
That is crazy.
Gross. Let's talk about a not gross quarterback. At least not gross as it comes to his personality.
He's pretty gross.
He was gross in college in a good way. Marcus Mariota, he went number 2 to Oregon. Mariota, Heisman at Oregon. Did he win a national championship?
Nope. Came close. I wish he did.
I was a big Mariota guy. Loved him, but something didn't click in Tennessee. I just don't think that team was good enough. It wasn't ready. It wasn't ready for a quarterback. And Marcus Mariota, kind of a short window of his really, really good stretch. I mean,
I don't think his tools that made him really great in college, I don't think they
I was
translated
about to say
well.
that I just loved him as I think he was just always going to be an amazing uh, college quarterback in a horrible conference still. And that offense that Chip Kelly put together, who was going to stop that in college?
that playoff run in 2017, I believe it was, where he caught his own touchdown pass. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. I
Very
have
flashy.
to this day I have the white and silver national championship Mariota jersey. I've
Ooh,
got that up in my room right now.
that's a good pull. That's a good pull. Tennessee, another one of those underrated, like bad organizations. They're starting to get it together now, but back
I've
then,
been known.
I mean,
that
the
mid
time they were good.
2010s, it was rough sledding. But and we'll give a shot. Was Dak Prescott in this draft class too? Was
Nope,
he?
you're one early.
Well, I'm one early. Okay, great.
Or one or two.
I think it's one.
You're
I think
one,
that was
yep.
one. Jared Goff for the Rams. Mixed bag. It's a mixed bag for them because they did go to a Super Bowl. Jared Goff played pretty well once he got McVay and they began cooking, but he was
Yeah,
a
Dak
mid-tier
Prescott wasn't
quarterback.
Jared
I don't
Goff's
think there
style.
was any missed potential there. If you guys agree or disagree, I don't think there was any missed potential with him.
No, I personally never this is one draft class top to bottom I read like a book. I never saw first overall pick with Goff. I thought he was a high floor, low ceiling type guy, and I think he's kind of maxed out his potential to an extent. I always thought of Wentz and Dak as much better prospects, even before they got drafted.
Dak, I thought he was good once he beat LSU.
Mm-hmm.
That's when they had the number one team in the country with like nobody. He had nobody with him.
Yep.
That was crazy. I was like, yeah, this guy, he might be a beast.
I wish so badly that Mississippi State was a bigger deal. They were, fun fact, if you ever want to impress anybody, the first ever number one overall ranked team in college football playoff history was Mississippi State when Dak Prescott was there. Dak was so nasty in college. I wish more people knew about him because he should have been a serious Heisman contender that year, and he wasn't just because of where he played ball at.
And obviously with Carson Wentz, the issue really was he had the Linsanity MVP year in 2017 when he blew his ACL and didn't win it.
His career really ended on the 1 yard line.
It really did. It really, really did.
I don't know if that's fair to call it a Linsanity run because
he wasn't as good any time at any point anywhere else.
well, yeah, but he also like when he got hurt, he was never the same. Like after that,
Well, that's why it's a Linsanity run because he never matched
Jeremy
again.
Lin was just ass. I don't like to use that.
Jeremy Lin
Lin wasn't
Jeremy Lin
that
also was
good.
only good for a month.
Yeah, he just randomly popped off. Like I don't know if it's fair because Carson Wentz got hurt. He was really good before he got hurt. Jeremy Lin just.
Well, here's my point. He wasn't. Here's my point. He wasn't good his rookie year. I think we were like, okay, it's some ups and downs. We'll see what happens year two. Year two, he has the crazy year and he pops his ACL on the 1 yard line there. 2018, 2019, 2020, not good. And then 2021, the Colts give up whatever it was.
I don't want to talk
and
about it.
he's horrible, but he beats us.
We're still talking about it.
He beats us in his house. But no, Wentz. Who knows what would have happened if he stayed healthy? Obviously, people point to losing Frank Reich as the problem there.
Got it.
In Philadelphia. I just don't think he was very good. I don't think he was very good at football in the first place. I think every quarterback, any quarterback with half decent potential can have a good year. As long as they have a team around them. And that 2017 Eagles team was really good. Ken, what were you saying? Were you disagreeing with me?
I was saying, but it was MVP type year. I don't think everybody's having an MVP type year.
I agree.
And it's hard to do that for a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
It is true, but what was the difference? Why couldn't he hold the? It wasn't really just the ACL tear that made sure that he couldn't hang on to any shred of starting in the NFL caliber play.
I mean, he was supposed to be a dual threat quarterback, and then he lost his knee.
Yeah. And I also think that while obviously I'm not the biggest Carson Wentz fan around, I'm still not sure there's 32 quarterbacks in the league better than Carson Wentz right
I'm
now.
confident in that.
Would he have started in New England?
Yeah, but that's a low bar.
I understand that's a low bar, but they had two quarterbacks there that Carson Wentz would be better than.
Carson Wentz could have started, but that doesn't mean he's top 32. I think there's a lot of backups in the league better than Carson Wentz.
I don't know. I'm going to think about this later, and I'm going to text you. I'm going to look at every quarterback in the league.
Sam
I'm going
Darnold
to
better
go
than
better than Carson
Sam
Wentz.
Darnold is better than Carson Wentz. I will die
No,
on that
he's
hill.
not.
I will
No,
die on that
he
hill.
is
I
not.
will.
I always know that's the one you're gonna fight for.
No,
I will die
he
on that
is
hill. I
not.
will. I will. I will. I will. Sam Darnold
Darnold
has
doesn't even have an excuse. He's just ass.
give me Sam Darnold starting 1 year in San Francisco. Let's see. Let's see if he's actually got something there. All right, and then Paxton Lynch, number 26. Oh my God.
I don't even know what to talk about that one.
Orlando Guardians legend Paxton Lynch.
Why did they even make that pick?
Because
They were
the
just
Broncos are an unserious organization.
what was the guy who was running the Broncos? He just liked tall guys with strong arms. Yeah.
LA.
Yeah, so he just saw a 6'6", like what he was 6'6" with a strong arm.
Oh yeah, he was tall. He was Osweiler Jr.
Yeah, so and then Osweiler was the same thing. Tall quarterback. They should have just, I don't know, followed Peyton Manning's, whatever Peyton Manning want type of quarterback could have came in. But they didn't do that.
2017, Mitchell Trubisky, number 2 to Chicago. Another one of those famous blunders because of who they took, who was taken after that, with Patrick Mahomes at 10 to Kansas City and Deshaun Watson, number 12 to Houston. Despite what we feel about Deshaun Watson, he in Houston, he was good enough to get a mega deal on the second contract. And they just kind of forced his way out, and then things happened. And we all know the story with Deshaun Watson. But Mitch Trubisky at number 2. They made the playoffs. It looked like there was some, if for anything, a little bit of potential there, like where he could have been an okay starting quarterback, and that's somebody you drafted too, obviously. But why didn't this work? Is Chicago just one of those poverty franchises? Do they not have enough around him?
I think the first thing is he was a project quarterback coming in because he was a 1-year wonder with not much happening in that 1 year, and he had a different coach every year for his first 4 years, I think. So he didn't have a lot. He was developing for something new every year. So I think that's the biggest thing.
And then obviously number 10, Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City, just a perfect storm. He was a project quarterback, but they had one of the best, like, middle of the line quarterbacks with Alex Smith there to kind of get him to be a little more, I don't want to say professional in the sense of like, being a professional person. I think Mahomes is fairly
and
professional.
Mahomes admitted he didn't know how to read a defense.
There you go. Like he just taught him to be a more mature kind of quarterback. Just like what?
No, I think it's so funny that it's out there that Patrick Mahomes, the greatest quarterback we've ever seen, arguably, didn't know how to read a defense. Yet Cliff Kingsbury keeps getting job after job after job because
I never
he
thought about
developed
that.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I've never thought about that. That's true.
Lord have mercy for whoever the Washington Commanders drafted to. But yeah, no, I mean, it was just a perfect scenario for him to work out. And then obviously once they got that potential fine-tuned, when they were able to really get into the lab with Mahomes and get him to perfect his game, we've seen what happens. It was a perfect situation. Not to take anything away from Mahomes, obviously. Very big Mahomes guy here.
I don't think if Mahomes ends up on most teams, he ends up being good just because of that.
What?
If Mahomes was a gunslinger who didn't know how to read a defense, if he went to most situations, he wouldn't have been successful.
So if he went number 2 to Chicago, you think that it's a disaster?
Yeah.
Maybe, but luckily for him, things didn't work out that way. So there's your ideal game plan for developing a quarterback right there. Get a good scenario, get a good coach, get a get a good veteran quarterback, and we see how it goes. And obviously with Deshaun Watson, he came in pretty pro ready. I think he started week 1, and he was just
I'll be right back.
unstoppable afterwards.
I have to,
He
Until,
was
I have
until
to
he tore his
go.
ACL in practice.
I have to go put my thing on the charger real quick.
All right.
he was an older quarterback, I'm pretty sure. I don't think he was an early enrollee into the NFL, so to speak. I think going into the draft, I wasn't super high on Mahomes, mainly because you see him put up these gaudy stats. I was lucky enough to be one of the 20 people staying up till midnight to watch him versus Baker Mayfield. his final year at Texas Tech. That was a lot of fun. But Big 12, not a lot of defense, lots of high powered offenses. You saw what Baker Mayfield looked like at Oklahoma and then what he is in the NFL now. I think that was kind of the knock on him, especially that, his lack thereof ability to read a defense. Deshaun, I always thought would be a good NFL quarterback. I never saw a lead out of him. I mean, early on, Houston, Deshaun Watson looked like he was going to be the best quarterback in the league. He was a few years away, and then obviously things went the way they went. But that early Deshaun Watson was special for sure.
Remember seeing him duel against Tom Brady, and I was like, this guy might be it.
Yep.
Yeah, that was his first start.
Yeah.
That was a good game. That was a really good game. All right. 2018. This is the class I got wrong. Wrong. Most people got it wrong. Nobody saw. I guess I won't say nobody, but a lot of people didn't really see Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson being the top 2 guys in this class.
I saw Lamar, but not Josh Allen.
A lot of people had mixed opinions
Same.
on Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. And obviously the board reflects that. Number 1, Baker Mayfield to Cleveland. If Kevin Stefanski gets to Cleveland 2 years earlier, I think Baker's still there.
100%.
He got thrown into a pretty rough situation as far as his coach. I mean, you have to deal with Freddie Kitchens as your head coach.
He had a horrible ownership, horrible GM.
It was a poverty franchise for the longest time, and it still kind of is.
And he did well. I mean, all things considered, he looked good. I was a big when Baker was getting released, traded. I can't remember what ended up happening, but when the Colts were deciding between Matt Ryan and Baker, I was a big pro Baker guy. I mean, I never saw first overall pick with Baker. I didn't see first overall pick for a lot of these guys, but I knew he would be fine at the very least. And that's what he is. He's at worst a slightly below average quarterback.
Yeah, especially after last year when we made the comparison to Brady stats and Baker stats and
Buccaneers Brady versus Buccaneers Baker.
Yeah, 2022 Brady versus 2023 Baker, the stats are pretty similar.
Yes, and I would argue that Brady was hovering around average to barely below average quarterback that season.
Listen, there's a conversation to be had there that hasn't been held on this show yet, and I don't think it ever will.
I don't know if it's worth bringing up on this show, honestly.
But up next, this is egg on my face. Egg on my face. Bad. I can make all the excuses that I want, but at the end of the day, this pick did not work out for the Jets with Sam Darnold. I mean, got the odds stacked against you when you have Adam. Jets are a poverty franchise. I hate to say it. They are. They don't know how to win. They always make the bad decisions, always putting their foot in their mouth, which Rex Ryan very much enjoys. Don't give me that look, Trent. You thought it was funny. But yeah, just didn't work out. The Jets are, and then obviously he goes to Carolina, and he deals with Matt Reich, or what is his name? Matt Rule. Sorry, getting my bad Panthers coaches confused. And goes through that hell, and now he's a backup at San Francisco, and hopefully things turn around for him. But not great. He didn't have a great career, and we can pin a lot of that on the Jets just not knowing how to do anything. But they also took a pretty rough quarterback in Zach Wilson a couple of years later, and I had more faith in Sam Darnold than I ever did in Zach Wilson.
I never saw it with Darnold personally. I didn't think he'd be.
He was a volatile prospect.
I didn't think he'd be. Yeah, I didn't think he'd be as bad as he is. But that was another guy where this class got hyped up so much. I can't say much because there's another guy who I don't even think is in the league anymore. I was super high on. We'll get to in a little bit, but I never saw it with Darnold personally.
Ken, do
I
you have
only, I
any
only,
input?
he only looked good in the bowl game to me, and so I didn't think he deserved to go this high from looking good in a bowl game. Personally,
But the Jets probably ruin any selective quarterbacks that they take at that 3 pick. That's just the way I feel. I think the Jets would have ruined all these guys. I do. Adam Gase. You can't avoid it. Josh Allen, number 7 at Buffalo. Holy crap, were we wrong on that?
Yeah.
yeah, I had Josh Allen as like a third round quarterback in that draft.
I mean,
That's
big, good arm. Had all the physical tools you need, but he was a bonehead. He still is kind of a bonehead, but
Yeah.
they
what did
just
the
made the
Bills
best out
do?
of it.
What did the Bills do to build this to a point where Josh Allen could succeed in the NFL? What was the step by step that they did?
Dabble,
Brian Dable, yeah.
yeah. That him coming in that second year, just putting the offense that told Josh Allen just don't fuck up too much, and it made him look amazing.
Trent,
Same
you
thing
got
he's
anything
done.
to add?
Same thing he's done with Daniel Jones. Just don't fuck it up too much.
Or Danny Dimes. We'll get to him later. Trent, you have anything to add about Josh Allen Bills and how they were able to kind of make this offense and Josh Allen doable in the league?
I wasn't super. I didn't really have much of an opinion on Josh Allen because I wasn't as into prospect scouting and things like that
This was
going
my
into
first
it.
year of it.
Yeah, because if
2018.
you didn't play for a FBS school, I know Wyoming's FBS, but barely.
Like
If you weren't playing,
Power Five.
yeah, if you weren't playing for, well, if there was big name quarterbacks at some of the bigger G5 teams like UCF or Cincinnati or things like that, I followed you, but I never even pretended to have said I watched a Wyoming game. So I didn't have much of an opinion, but I thought, oh, he's one of those intangible G5 guys. I didn't put much stock into it.
After that, you had Josh Rosen at 10. And not only was Josh Rosen bad, he was so bad that the coach got fired and they brought in Cliff Kingsbury with the first overall pick, and he just went and took Kyler Murray the following year, and that was the end of Josh Rosen. Just, I don't know. Got put in a crappy spot, but he wasn't very good.
I
Yeah,
thought Josh Rosen was the man. And
I
that was
didn't.
my guy from this class. Him and Lamar were my two.
I didn't like Josh Rosen as a person, so that made me not like him as a prospect. I'm not gonna lie to you.
He does
I
kind of
didn't
have an
learn about what an
affluent,
a-hole he
douchey
was
kind of.
till
Yeah,
after.
he was a dick. So
Yeah, Josh Rosen wasn't my guy. Didn't believe in the Rosen one.
and he didn't have he and I like traits, and he didn't have a strong arm, and he was slow. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a crazy comeback like week 1 of that year, and it was just like, oh my god, Rosen won, and we all just kind of threw on rose-colored glasses. Oh,
I saw that game. That is completely what sold me. I watched that game and I fully locked in. I'm like, this guy's going to be awesome. Like, this is just my guy now. I didn't watch a UCLA game the rest
he's
of the year.
Aaron
I was
Rodgers
just like, that's
douchebag
my
without the
guy.
talent. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
Yeah.
What it
yeah.
is. Up
He
next,
he didn't need the money.
you have Lamar Jackson at 32, which pisses me off in so many ways because we took goddamn Sony Maroney at pick 26 or 28, whatever it was. And Isaiah Wynn, who's not even on the team anymore. What are you gonna do? Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP.
He was
Can you have
also 2-time Heisman.
a particular insight on this? Not sure why you know so much about the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson and what that operation could be, because clearly you're a Patriots fan, just like the rest of us on this show. Tell me, what did the Ravens do that was able to set Lamar up for the success that he had?
They let him develop for like half a year while Joe Flacco was sucking. Then he had a good offensive line and he had a good defense. That's a great that's great training wheels to give a quarterback for his for his development. And then he eventually became a great thrower, um, like his second year in the league, and it was good from then. The
Do
quick way to say it.
you have any input on the Lamar Jackson study?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, me? No, it's
Yeah, yeah,
fine.
yeah.
I was a huge Lamar Jackson fan in college. I thought it was very narrow-minded how people kind of put him into a lane with all of these other, oh, he's a gadget run type guy. He's like I remember hearing poor man's Michael Vick, poor man's RG3 when I thought even in college he was way better than both of those guys were and had a lot more potential. And I knew when he got drafted, I was like, if he's going to be something in the NFL, which I had a pretty good feeling he was, there wasn't a better team for him to have gone to, a better situation, organization, head coach than the Ravens. And obviously what happened happened.
I will say we should have drafted him like with our first pick instead of 32nd because I was pretty mad at that first pick. But
Hayden
whatever.
Hurst, right?
Yeah,
Oh my
Ugh. He's
God.
like a 26-year-old rookie, wasn't he?
and he's got cut by the Panthers.
What a career that guy had. Ugh. All right. 2019. This is probably the second worst class that we're looking at here. Kyler Murray at number 1 worked out. I think it worked out enough that we can say, but I think Arizona's still not a great organization. They still didn't put a whole ton around him. What was his wide receiver 1 as a rookie? Wasn't D-Hop, I don't think.
I don't remember his receiver.
Larry Fitz wasn't still there in 2019.
If he was like watched.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. But I just didn't remember if he was stuck around for Kyler or not.
I think he might have been there year 1, maybe. But God, who was John
Christian Kirk,
Brown?
Christian Kirk, and John Brown.
Christian Kirk and John Brown. Yeah. And then Christian Kirk cashed in 2021, I think. But yeah, that worked out enough. Kyler Murray was just a special talent, and he was able to make it work. And he brought Arizona to the playoffs in 2021, I believe. So, all things considered, I'm excited to see what the rest of the Kyler Murray does. But I don't think it was anything that Arizona really did to make sure he could succeed. I think they've done all they can to hamper him and make sure he can't succeed. But it's worked out so far. I'm a big
It's
Kyler Murray
amazing
fan.
that he came back from this injury and from the ACL and still was as mobile as he was.
Oh yeah, incredible. I'm a big for those people who don't know. I consider Arizona to be my second home. I got my NASCAR hat and it has the Arizona flag on it, and yeah. So the Cardinals, soft spot for me. I love watching those teams growing up. As much as I hated Carson Palmer, loved Larry Fitzgerald. I love those Cardinals teams. I wish they were able to get a Super Bowl in one of the years the Patriots didn't. But what are you gonna do? So soft spot for the Cardinals. As much as I hated Josh Rosen, I hated that pick from the jump. All right,
The Steelers.
Daniel Jones. They had the 1 year of success, which was the product of Brian Dable, just like it was with Josh Allen. Obviously in 2023, they're not able to replicate it because of the torn ACL. And the Giants they took a step back in every single direction. Everything got worse. The Giants are weird. They're a weird team. They are. They're an intriguing case study for sure. But yeah, any thoughts on Daniel Jones? I think this is a really interesting case because the Patriots and Giants are in similar situations, I believe. Like when the Giants took Daniel Jones at 6, it's very similar to where the Patriots are with 3, I believe. I think our defensive talent might be a little better, but just like comparing the roster to roster where the teams were at that point, it's a good case to look at it. Where was I going with this, Ken? I mean, do you have any thoughts on the Daniel Jones experience?
The Giants are my second team right now, and so I watch a lot of Giants. And Daniel Jones is such a weird quarterback to watch because he'll make an amazing throw and then have 10 bad plays after that. So I don't know. And he's a great runner without you thinking that he should be a great runner.
And now his ACL's gone.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a hard road back to playing any good football again. And the Giants they're at a crossroads. They are. I don't envy their position at all. especially after giving Daniel Jones that 4-year, $70 million contract, whatever the hell it was. Trent, you said he sucks to begin. Is there anything you want to add to that?
Not much. It was another guy where you see the splash plays in college when he was at Duke. Duke was pretty good when he was there. And Duke was pretty good last year too, but Duke's starting to become a factor in football again started with Daniel Jones. I never saw it. I remember thinking Dwayne Haskins, I don't know if we're talking about him, God rest his soul. I thought he was a much better prospect than Daniel Jones. And I think the Giants still should have taken him. Maybe things would have been different for Dwayne Haskins football wise had he gone to New York instead. I never saw it with Daniel Jones. I don't know why they gave him that massive contract extension, and they're really regretting it right now from what it sounds like.
I think out of respect for Dwayne Haskins' death last year, I will keep this short and brief. Washington's a poverty organization. You
100%.
couldn't expect them to develop a first round quarterback. I don't know if you can today. Dwayne Haskins obviously had some issues, not great with decision making on the football field. Not a fantastic passer when he came out. A lot of people didn't love him coming out of Ohio State. That's why he fell all the way to 17 or whatever the pick was. Would have been interesting to see what could have happened in Pittsburgh in 2021 before they took Kenny Pickett, or 2022, whatever it was. Would have been interesting. I would like to see what could have been. But rest in peace to Dwayne Haskins. We're gonna go to. We only have one. Oh wait, no, this is the class afterwards, or 2020. We have a lot of guys, and we're running low on time. So let's keep it short and brief. Joe Burrow, number 1 to Cincinnati. I don't want to keep this one short because I want Ken to give his thoughts on Trent's opinions on Joe Burrow.
Privileged.
What?
I said privileged. If you want me to keep it
to
short
always have
and sweet.
generational receivers in college and in the NFL.
Yeah, so basically Trent's let me know if I'm being uncharitable when I try to condense this to a sentence or two. Trent's opinion on Joe Burrow isn't that he's bad, isn't that he shouldn't be considered one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the league. It's that we have concerns around guys like Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert,
Lamar Jackson. 2-time MVP Lamar Jackson, important to know.
No, why don't you give Ken the 2 cents?
All right, I'll break it down really quickly. He wasn't good enough at Ohio State to get on the field. Maybe that was just Urban Meyer not knowing how to coach a quarterback, which clearly he doesn't. Wasn't good enough to get on the field at Ohio State. Went to LSU. Was mediocre at best his first year at LSU. Gets the Avengers around him. Has the best season in college football history as a 27-year-old senior. Not literally, but an old geriatric senior at LSU has a phenomenal season. Goes to the NFL. His first year, he's okay, not too bad. Gets Jamar Chase, maybe the best receiver in the NFL.
Tears his ACL.
What?
Didn't he tear his ACL? Or is this?
Year one.
Yeah, his first
Year
year.
one.
Tears his ACL. Injury problems out the wazoo with Joe Burrow. And then gets, the best receiving core in the NFL. Offensive talent all over the place. Good head coach, good defense. And we just have no questions at all, even a little bit. This guy is as what's the word, certified as Patrick Mahomes. I think it's ridiculous.
I could see that. What you call it, especially since he's only had the one like great year, and he's consistently put in the same conversation as Lamar and Patrick Mahomes, who've done it for at least 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, there is no justification to putting Joe Burrow on the same level as Lamar Jackson. Imagine that Ravens offense if they had T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
I have a hot take for you guys, but we're gonna move right on from it because I don't want to hear the reaction immediately. We'll have to postpone that for next week. Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, it's a real conversation that needs to be had, and I lean more towards Josh Allen than I do Joe Burrow at this point. I do.
I don't think it's that hot of a take.
Well, people, listen, man. I've seen the circles. I've seen the circles debating Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. And like you said, Trent, there's a lot of weird kind of just, Joe Burrow's the man without a whole stack of great evidence to prove it. I think Josh Allen's resume reads a lot better than Joe Burrow's at this point when you take the rose-colored glasses off. And if he could just make a Super Bowl, he doesn't even have to win it. If he could just make it, what does Joe Burrow have on Josh Allen? Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But Josh Allen can't beat Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow can. At least he's proven to do it once. So.
Oh, you mean the playoffs? Playoffs, never mind.
Yeah. So 2 at 5. He's in one of the best situations in the NFL. One of the best spots where he gets to see. He throws it up, and Tyreek Hill can just run under it. Jalen.
Tyreek Hill has to stop under it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan Waddle can get right under it. Devon A. Shane, Raheem Mostert, Mike McDaniel, more than solid enough defense. He's in a spot where he can succeed really well, but we have doubts about him. Just as if he can raise it up, if he can raise his play to the next level, we have concerns. Is he going to be able to go out and win the big game for the Miami Dolphins? Can he go to the playoffs into an area like the Bills or the Chiefs like last year? Again, the Chiefs is a weird one because it was minus 30. I wasn't expecting the Dolphins to put up much of a fight there. Like if that game was in Miami, I don't want to say that the Chiefs just roll over and die because I don't think that's the case at all because they were really good all playoffs long. But the Dolphins probably have a better chance. But we have concerns about Tua being able to turn himself from a B tier, C tier quarterback into the A's.
I don't think he's ever going to. I was just gonna say I was really big on Tua coming out of Alabama. I thought he was going to be Drew Brees 2.0. He's not.
This is tough. Ken, you have anything to add?
They're gonna have to just try to decide if they're gonna pay $50 million for him this year, and they're gonna lose a lot of that now.
They're gonna pay him. Everybody in that Dolphins organization loves him, and Mike McDaniel loves him, and you don't take away a quarterback that a coach loves. It's just one of those things.
They've already started cutting their roster because they're gonna have to pay him.
Justin Herbert at 6, elite talent. Hasn't been given a fair shake with the Chargers as far as his weapons always getting hurt, coaches being rough and bad, and he has to play in a division with Patrick Mahomes twice a year. Not a great shakedown, but I think we all believe that Justin Herbert is going to solidify himself this year as long as he can stay healthy with a Jim Harbaugh offense. And
I wasn't big on Justin Herbert coming out of Oregon.
I wasn't either.
He really proved me wrong for sure.
He proved a lot of people wrong for sure. Ken, what do you think about Justin Herbert?
I was a big fan of him, and I thought the Giants were going to draft him the year before he came out. That sucked.
Imagine the world where Justin Herbert is on the Giants.
Should have been.
Things could be a little better. They could be.
But he was smart not to come out.
No, for sure. Up next, Jordan Love, 26 at Green Bay. Fun fact, draft night, I called this happening. At the beginning of the first round, I'm on a live stream with the other place that I'm not going to mention. Everybody knows my opinion on the other place. I'm using the Colin Cowardisms on purpose. Trent can vouch where I was that time period and just how rough it was. But beginning of the draft night, as soon as we got on live stream, we're giving our bold prediction. I said the Packers are going to trade back into the first round or trade down or whatever they did, and they're going to take Jordan Love. And it's going to piss Aaron Rodgers off. What do? They go get Jordan Love. He's the quarterback for the Packers, and 4 years into his career, 3 years into his career, looks good. There's something to believe in there. And the Packers, they did it the right way. They had a quarterback, and they were going to take their time with Jordan Love. They were going to make sure they were going to get this right. And Jordan Love, as much as he has some concerns as far as like just making boneheaded decisions, like the end of that playoff game in San Francisco, grasping defeat from the jaws of victory. I think the Packers' future looks bright, and I'm glad that we have some Packer influence in the Patriots organization today. Because I think they generally do things the right way. I think they generally have a great idea for how they want to build their football team, and they've been competitive, to say the very least. I mean, the worst years they had in recent memory, since like probably even before Ken was alive, truthfully, the worst years they've had were because of injuries to the quarterback position, and they just didn't have that backup to really take over. They missed 1 year or 1 or 2 years they've missed the playoffs because of the team just missed the playoffs. What was it, 2022? Rodgers' last year there when they lost to the Lions at Lambeau because they were a little cocky. And then I think there was the year 2017. They won like 8-7-1, but I don't know if Rodgers got hurt that year or not. I can't remember. But no, Jordan Love, I have high hopes for. I think that's going to work out pretty good. Any other additional thoughts? I summed it up perfectly. I love that. I love that. I love when I get the Ken sign of approval. Football Guy says you got the football take right. All right. I'm getting PTSD reading it. Trevor Lawrence, number 1 to Jacksonville, hasn't worked out quite as well as we hoped. Jacksonville's just a poverty organization. We've said it once, we'll say it again. They don't know how to get it right. Trent, you get a personal look looking at Jacksonville whenever you go home to Florida or whatever you see them come up Indianapolis. You've seen firsthand why these Jaguars stink.
Yep. I will say he had a rough year this year because of injuries, but if there's any guy outside of Patrick Mahomes who I think can turn that place around, I think it's Trevor Lawrence.
Number 2, Zach Wilson. I hated him coming out. I hated him now. Just not a good quarterback. He's a bonehead. He's not a head case. He's a bonehead. Very different, as Trent pointed out to me a couple of days ago. It's the Jets, number 1, and number 2, Zach Wilson. He's not a smart football player. He has all the talent in the world. He just doesn't have a brain between his ears. Hate to put it that bluntly, but I think everybody generally agrees. What do you guys think of Trey Lance, number 3 to San Francisco? What do you guys think of him coming out?
I didn't like him. I think we did film together, right?
We did do film together that year, and
okay.
we were the only people say, yeah, Trey Lance is going to blow.
Okay, yeah.
Remember, I watched this film. He literally looked like Cam Newton on the Patriots.
He had a strong arm, and he was fast, but he was inaccurate. He played against horrible talent.
Dude, he was throwing checkdowns in the dirt.
Yeah. So, I was never a fan.
No, never. Trent, did you?
Never. I was lukewarm on him. It was another guy that he played like 1 or 2 games in college and wasn't even playing at a very high level. So I didn't understand selling the farm to get Trey Lance.
First round draft picks?
Yeah, but outside of what they gave up, you can argue it wasn't the worst decision made about a quarterback in this draft, but
we're going to get there. Just bear with me. Up next, Justin Fields. The Bears trade up to go get him. I think it was an in-division trade, too. They traded with the Vikings to go and get that pick. Hasn't worked out. Again, we can kind of point at a couple of different directions. Here, number 1, I mean, you can just talk about Justin Fields. Oh, wait, this is a rare point. This is a rare point of discussion here, and I don't want to blow it as much as we're nearing the 2-hour mark, and I want to get out of here before we hit it. Trent thinks Justin Fields sucks. Ken, on the other hand, has some high hopes for Justin Fields. He thinks it's all Chicago. Yeah. Ken, I'll let you set the table for Justin Fields as Trent did for JJ McCarthy. Not as in depth because we're running low on fuel here. Give me why you still believe in Justin Fields.
I mean, he's a dual threat quarterback that they don't design for him to run the ball. That's idiotic. And that's like if you cut off running from Lamar, that you're cutting off what makes him great. So that's the biggest problem that I've had with him with Chicago. And then when they finally do decide, hey, maybe we should change our offense in the second half of the season. Every season so far, he's looked great. So maybe if he goes to another organization, they'll know how to use him.
Trent, why are you out on Justin Fields?
Well, I think he has all the physical traits for sure, and he seems like I want to see him succeed. I mean, he played at Ohio State, but he's one of the few Ohio State guys I really, really root for in the league because he seems like a really good guy. He was this past season the worst fourth quarter quarterback in the NFL by far. All of his good games this year came against teams that I believe were ranked in the bottom 5 or 6 in pass defense in the league. He has had a war crime of a front office, horrible head coaching. I don't know why Matt Eberflus is keeping his job personally. Having seen him in Indianapolis, I would have packed his bags for him. I don't know why he still has his job in Chicago. So he's definitely had the deck stacked against him. And like Ken said, maybe if he does go to Atlanta, where I mean the coaching situation is TBD there, but a
Zach
plethora of
Robinson will let him. I think Zach Robinson will let him.
yeah, I think he'll definitely use him better than Eberflus was. But when it comes to should they keep Justin Fields or draft Caleb, I think it only makes sense to go with Caleb because now you got to pay Justin Fields and you have no idea whether it's the team or whether it's him. You don't exactly want to bet wrong on that. So I'm not crazy about him. I wouldn't be surprised if he turned it around. I'm also not holding my breath about it.
Can we skip this one?
No.
That's what we've been
I
building
can't
up
because
to.
it is directly Patriots related. I couldn't skip it if I wanted to. Mac Jones, number 15. I'm gonna find a clip. I don't think I'll put it in the podcast because that's a lot of effort, but I'll find a clip for you guys later. There is a stream 2021 NFL draft. I I got a screen recording of my reaction to the Mac Jones pick. And I was surprised on my reaction then, given how my reaction was like for the following 2 to 2.5 years. I was not excited about this pick back then. Believe it or not, I was not. I had to convince myself that this was it.
Oh, I believe it.
You fit yourself well.
Yeah, I mean, Ken, you remember film with me watching Mac Jones? I thought he was solid. I thought that there was some things there to work with. I thought his anticipation on throws was excellent. I thought he could read a field really, really well. Again, like everybody
Just
knows.
thought he was a first round quarterback though.
Did I think he was a first round quarterback? I did. I did think he was a first round quarterback. Obviously, he went in the first round. Doesn't mean you're a first round quarterback by any means. The wheels came off, and this is where it is. The Patriots. Listen, we can be as critical on Mac Jones, the athlete, the passer, as we want. The Patriots did not set him up for success past his rookie year. Matt Patricia is calling your offensive plays. Joe Judge is your quarterback's coach. In year 3, the offensive coaches aren't allowed to meet with interposition players. You have offensive wide meetings in the offense. Like there's no one-on-one position time. Bill Belichick, obviously, everything he said about Mac Jones was a proverbial kick in the dick. He wasn't set up for success past his rookie year. They did not handle the transition from Josh McDaniels well at all. And it's the reason why my guy, BB, is not here anymore. So what are you going to do? Loved Mac Jones' rookie year. I loved what I saw. I thought that we could have had something there. In all reality, he probably wasn't going to be anything but that Andy Dalton, that mid-tier quarterback that just kind of sails along and has his highs-ish, has his lows-ish, generally doesn't screw it up too much, and doesn't bother the status quo. I think that was his kind of ceiling in retrospect. And I thought it when we picked him, apparently. And I convinced myself into believing there was. So, what are you going to do? Egg on my face. 2022, it did.
Whoa.
didn't
No,
miss
I
one.
get to take my victory lap real quick on this one. Classic category 1, said it from the day he got drafted. He was absolutely horrible. We've talked a lot about ceilings and floors. At low ceiling, we're talking like a elementary school cafeteria type ceiling. And the floor was in the 9th circle of hell. Anybody who was calling this guy baby goat, baby Brady was
I was not doing that unironically.
You weren't, but there were people doing that. They were on Juarez's finest. This guy was horrible. I'm so glad he didn't rob Devontae Smith of a Heisman Trophy. He stunk. He seems like not a great human being. I prayed on his downfall, and I'm happy that I saw it. Yeah.
I prayed for this
my,
and it finally happened.
yeah, exactly. Classic, as Nick Wright would say, classic category 1 take right from the very start. Stinks. I'm done.
Ken, I mean, since I'll give the floor to you since we let Trent take his victory lap. What did you think when at the beginning?
Devonta Smith Merchant.
Got it. Great. Listen, then
I mean, I didn't. I'm not gonna lie to you. I haven't liked the Alabama quarterback in a while. So
maybe you'll like the next one we talk about, but first we gotta go to Kenny Pickett with the Steelers at number 20. This is the perfect example of forcing yourself to take a quarterback. Obviously the Steelers needed one, and Kenny Pickett was generally the consensus QB1. It was a bad QB class, if you couldn't tell. And it hasn't worked out. They're already trying to replace him. Kenny Pickett wasn't very good, very limited football player. But the Steelers needed to build that roster more, and they wasted their first round pick on Kenny Pickett.
Yep.
Oh, Jordan Addison. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's get to this. Let's get to last year's. Bryce Young, number 1 to Carolina. Carolina's a poverty organization. That's why it hasn't looked great so far. They pair him up with Frank Reich, who me and Trent called from day one. What do you call it? What was that Nick Wright saying?
Classic category 1. He's
Got
three. He's got 3 takes. Category 1, right from the start. Category 2, eventually right. Category 3, dead wrong. Couldn't be more wrong. That's a classic category 1.
All right, so classic category 1. Me and Trent knew Frank Reich wasn't going to work out. All this QB whisper BS that we've been fed for years about Frank Reich finally turned out to be not true. Didn't even make it through his full first year. Now they got Dave Canales from Tampa. We'll see how well that works out. I think Bryce Young is hopefully going to be surrounded by pieces he needs to succeed. He needs a wide receiver. He needs a wide receiver bad. He needs some offensive line help. He needs a lot of stuff. He needs some stuff. You're working here with rotted eggs, rotted milk, and you're trying to make a souffle for 10. It's not great, but I hope that Bryce Young is able to turn it around. Did you guys like Bryce Young coming out? Did you guys think he was
he was my
greatness?
He was my QB1A, I guess. Him and CJ, I felt really strongly about the both of them. But if you would ask me, life or death situation, pick him or CJ, I'd have picked Bryce. It's looking really bad right now. But I was big on Bryce.
Ken?
I think for me, Caleb Williams and Bryce Young are basically in the same category of they do a lot of the off script stuff amazing, and I don't love the on script stuff. So that's why he was my quarterback 2 back then, just like Caleb Williams is my quarterback 2 now. And so I think that he just needs to be he can be accurate. So that's you love that from him overall.
Up next, CJ Stroud, number 2 to Houston. I know somebody who was category 3 dead wrong on this one, for all the wrong reasons. But we're not going to talk about that. So CJ Stroud to Houston, he's already looking like a top 10 quarterback, straight up. Already looking that way. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. And Houston, we didn't expect Houston to be that good this year. We thought it was going to be a long road to the top, but they made the playoffs this year. What did they do anything that the Patriots could replicate with that year 1? Because Houston was looking pretty dreadful. What was the difference maker? Was it D'Amico Ryans? Was that
draft amazingly outside of just the quarterback?
What was the rest of the draft class? Could you run through for me?
It was Tank Dell, Will Anderson. So you got a Will Anderson who looked like a top 10 edge rusher. Tank Dell who I didn't even see it coming. He looked like a wide receiver 1. So you got him a wide receiver 1. He already had a left tackle, Larry Tunsil. And their center, I forget what his name was. They drafted a good center, Scruggs, I think his name was, or
I don't watch Houston football.
It was a random guy on draft night that nobody thought was going in the second round.
So the Patriots, what you're saying, if they want to go the Houston route, get aggressive.
just draft well. I don't know.
Get aggressive and do everything perfectly. Land the
Yeah.
quarterback higher, or land the coach higher, land the quarterback, draft a defensive superstar. If you can do all that, you guys will be great.
Oh, our defense is pretty good. We maybe
I
don't have
mean,
to do
you
it.
started off well
Maybe we
because
don't have to do it the exact same way.
they had drafted Derek Stingley. You guys drafted Christian Gonzalez.
We're just throwing it out there. Rumors are the Patriots are going to go after Tyron Smith in free agency. Pretty good left tackle. A little old, but
He just got to stay healthy.
pretty good
Yeah.
left tackle. That'd be pretty solid. It's a good way to start. All right. Is this the last one? It is the last one. Anthony Richardson, number 4 to Indianapolis. So obviously a small sample size. We don't know the complete picture yet, but the beginning of the picture, some people don't think it's very good. Some people think it's excellent. People on this podcast, I believe, at least the top 2 of us up here, me and Trent, we believe that it looks really, really good. We have high hopes for it. Ken, do you have any different kind of opinion?
Same. I had him as baby Cam Newton. So
Baby Ken Newton, that's high praise.
Yeah.
It's high praise.
I think AR, in my completely unbiased opinion as a Colts fan, has the potential to be the second best quarterback in the league. That's what I think about him. I don't think he'll ever be Patrick Mahomes. I don't see any reason why he can't be better than every other guy in the league.
If we could just go off potential, that's true. I don't think he will be, but he has the potential.
And listen, the Colts they're doing their best to surround him with talent. They franchise tagged Michael Pittman Jr. Obviously, Trent, do you believe that they're not letting him out the building without a new contract?
Well, they tagged him with the non-exclusive tag, and there's going to be a team offer him 26 mil a year, or if not more. I almost guarantee it. So
How high would you go to match?
me personally, I wouldn't go higher than 26. And even at 26, I don't feel good about it.
Do you think that Mike Evans is a top 20 receiver? Not Mike Evans, Michael Pittman.
Well, Mike Evans was a conversation we had last night.
Yeah, that's why it came to my mind at first.
Probably. I think he is solidly in the second tier of receivers. He's got a lot. It's funny you mentioned Mike Evans because he's built a lot like Mike Evans is. I don't think he's ever going to be Mike Evans. I think he's really good. But if I have to pay a receiver, top 5 receiver money, I'd rather have a more complete package at my wide receiver 1 than a big possession type guy like Pittman Jr.
All right, those are all the quarterbacks. So let's try to put a bow on this. If the Patriots are going to take a quarterback at number 3, what do you think is the most important thing the Patriots need to do to make sure that quarterback doesn't flame out like the last guy did? If we have any good thoughts, raise your hand all at once.
I think it's twofold.
Okay, let's go.
Have a great offensive system around him, because I don't think Joe Judge, Patricia, Bill O'Brien, I don't think they developed a great offensives around him for Mac Jones to ever actually develop. And the second is to get him weapons.
Trent, what do you think?
I think the main thing is if they're going to take a quarterback, they can't pick somebody who is kind of a project. Like if I were the Patriots, I wouldn't take Drake May. I wouldn't take JJ McCarthy. If Caleb's not going to fall to 3, but if Jaden Daniels falls to 3, I would take Jaden Daniels. I wouldn't take any of the other guys at that point. I would go best available because there's nothing there to work with on offense, really. I mean, the running back room is nothing to write home about. The wide receiver room is my high school down the street. And the quarterback situation is what it is. So I don't think you want to pick a guy like JJ or a guy like Drake May who may need some more fine tuning and put him in a situation where you throw him out there, because you can't draft a guy with the number 3 pick and have him sit behind Bailey Zappi. It just can't happen. So
I don't want Bailey Zappi on the roster next year.
Oh, come on.
I'd be open to it, but honestly, I want a clean slate. I want a clean slate at that depth chart. I want
Even if it's a
everybody gone,
backup?
and then get a bum, and then go get a Joe Flacco, Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew type, and then you draft somebody, whether that be May at 3 or Daniels, or whether that be Penix in the second round. I'd be open to it. Nobody's ever been burned too hard by a second round quarterback that they couldn't get out of. Like you couldn't tell me that you told me the Patriots couldn't get out of a Michael Penix if they really wanted to.
No, I was more so thinking of examples like
Like if you wanted to give me Andy Dalton or Derek Carr who stuck him in purgatory, that's one thing. But we're not drafting Penix for the hopes that he's the franchise guy. We're gonna like throw him out there, but it's just a guy that, hey, we're gonna see what's there. Can we afford to make that risk? I don't know, probably not.
At that point, I would just pick the guy from Tulane in round like 3 or 4 and just build the offense with the first 3 rounds.
Who's the Tulane guy? Ken, help me.
It's Pratt, right?
Michael Pratt, yeah. Strong arm, dude. Yeah.
I kind of like Michael Pratt. I kind of like Keaton Slovis too. Low key is like a late round flyer.
You guys are gaslighting me here. It's late. Don't give me that Keaton Slovis crap, all right?
I'm being so serious.
Bro ran like a 4.5, you know?
He did.
Listen, Keaton Slovis has been in college since the Obama administration. I'm not here for it. He's a flamed out prospect at USC. I don't even know where he plays nowadays.
He ran a faster 40 time than Netflix boy.
I don't care. You guys know my opinion on the combine and 40-yard dashes, especially for quarterbacks. I really don't care.
You're not rocking with Spencer Rattler's 4.94?
I'm not rocking with Spencer Rattler's douchey attitude. That's what I'm not rocking with. Get out of here with that. But all right, Trent, will you be back next week for our send-off show for the offseason before we get into the nitty-gritty?
Next week?
Next week?
Next week?
Next week.
Are you sure about next week?
I'm not leaving for Phoenix next week. Like, I'll be here to record on Tuesday night.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's the week after we're not going to have a show.
Got it. Okay.
So we'll have our one last one before I go, and then we'll come back after free agency and everything, and we'll pick up the pieces. But we'll be here next week.
Sounds good.
All right. Ken, thank you for coming on and blessing us with your presence, Football Guy. We genuinely appreciate it. I will be in touch to get that film session in so I can come back with a wiser mind and have a more structured opinion. And we'll see you all then. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, and comment what you think of all these exercises we did, what you want to do at pick number 3. And above all else, happy birthday to me, 22. Thank you for watching the Foxboro BeatCast. We will see you all next week.
Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Foxboro BeatCast. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow us on Facebook and Instagram.